Welcome one, welcome all to DeFi Crypto and Airdrops. I am Mike, aka Veteran Crypto, and decided to go live. There is a bunch of alpha out there, and I'm sure everyone's noticed that prices are moving to the upside. Getting small pullbacks, but for the most part, it really feels like the markets are starting to heat up. Feels a little bit different than it has before, just because we are starting to see the rhythm that traditionally in past cycles that we've seen. So we've seen. Actually, you know what? Let me tweak up this real quick if you don't mind bearing with me. Looks like I'm a little bit on the bright side. Let's tone this down a bit. All right. So, all right. Yeah, I mean, we've obviously seen Bitcoin move, and we were waiting for Ethereum to move, but Bitcoin actually moved super early. Of course, the end of last year is when we really started to see that movement. Saw alts pump, and then had a major pullback. I know personally, my portfolio went up, probably like 2-3x, and then we had a pullback. And since then, we've been kind of waiting because ETH didn't have its moment. I mean, ETH even pulled back from 4,200 to 1,600. And so a lot of us were, kind of wondering, when ETH. And recently, obviously we've seen ETH is now in price discovery. We've been seeing 4,300 plus as far as an ETH price. So if this keeps up, potentially we're looking at rolling that liquidity rolling into uh, high market cap alts, and then eventually into lower market cap alts, and then the idiocy comes to the market, and you start seeing heavy meme coin. You start seeing NFTs like last cycle. NFTs went wild. People were paying hundreds of thousands of dollars for cartoon monkeys, and to each their own. It's a pretty good indication that we're getting towards the top is when you start seeing stuff like that. So with that, let's go ahead and start diving into some of this because I have a lot to go through, and I'm really hoping that I can get to it all. But let's see about turning some of this down. All right. So right off the bat, if you could follow on X Veteran, the number 4 crypto. I try to keep up on everything that's going on with DeFi and crypto in general. But great place to keep up with me if you want to kind of get the real time whenever I'm finding things out. Uh, Over here, you got our YouTube channel. Hopefully, you're on it right now in the chat. Again, I'm not ignoring the chat. I will definitely get to your questions here in a minute. But we have our brother channels, Discover Crypto. My boy Jeff over at Blockchain Report. He is my go-to for airdrops, and actually gives me a huge advantage when it comes to being a first mover, when it comes to Plume and a lot of other projects that we talk about on this channel. He is the one that clues me in on them. On Mondays and Saturdays, we do deep dives on a lot of the ones he's farming airdrops for, and they are very early projects. So you're able to get in, before the pumps happen and everyone else starts talking about them. It's a really cool, kind of, balance that we have, with DeFi and airdrops. Something you're going to find anywhere else. Blockchain Basement, Drew, I love that guy. Freaking, I really grateful to Drew and Isaac over there at the Blockchain Basement. BitLab Academy, Kelly over there, great guy, huge on the TA. And then, of course, if you are interested, you got our Discord. And so, in our description on the channel, YouTube, you can find both the Discover Investment Group Discord and our DCA Discord. Of course, Jeff over the Blockchain Report, the BCR142. You can follow him on X, and of course his channel as well. Last night we did a deep dive on Billions Network, which is a offshoot of Polygon. So a bunch of the co-founders and things like that, they've actually gotten into this project, kind of an offshoot, and actually pretty interesting project if you want to check that out. But let's go ahead and dive into the markets. So these are kind of our channel favorites that we're always talking about in our Discord and in our community. Of course, I am always bullish on Base. Any DeFi that is on Base, or really any project that's on Base, I am hyper focused on DeFi and RWAs. And with with Base, it's, I feel, being purposely built out for DeFi and RWAs. You look at it, you have Morpho, Aerodrome, Velodrome, KTA, what else? Moonwell, Mamo, Rise, just a ton. Oh, and Arcadia, AAA. Just all really solid projects. And with the new Base app, and with what Coinbase is doing with bringing DeFi natively onto their platform and onto their app, is the first one that I've been able to find en masse that is removing the barriers to entry to people that don't know about crypto. They're able to simply deposit their fiat onto Coinbase and instantly have access to Aerodrome, Mamo, all of these DeFi projects. Whereas before, you had to learn how to use hot wallets and cold wallets, roll the dice with, moving your liquidity and hope that you sent it to the right address, and then, attach your wallet to potentially some, iffy websites, and to deposit your liquidity to earn. That is a thing of the past with what Coinbase is doing. We are on the precipice of what DeFi is going to be, and the retarded fish frog baby of traditional finance and decentralized finance. So, with that being said, let's dive into some of this. Let's see. So I got some bookmarks hooked up here. So KTA, again, a base play. It has been listed on Kraken on August 5th. So it's starting to get some major listings on centralized exchanges. It's backed by an ex-Google CEO. And just so that you understand, KTA, we've done some deep dives on our channel, and they are boasting still, they've done some stress tests and stuff like that. It's still, to be determined, but they're boasting 10 million transactions per second. With what they're building out for when it comes to, DeFi and RWAs, that is huge. With the amount of volume that happens every single day, every single hour, you're going to need to have those speeds. If this is true, this is going to be one of the fastest chains, if not the fastest chains out there. I can't stress this enough. This is a lower market cap. However, if they are able to pull this off, potentially, this is going to be at least a 20x. Like, let's actually look at Keto right now and see where they're at. And it's been pumping lately. Those of you that aren't paying attention. So this is the all-time chart for Keto. The highest that it's gotten is $1.53. We got into it. Our community got into it about here at 43 cents. It pumped up to there and it pulled back. A lot of people panicked. It went down to like 56 cents, down into the low 50s. In our community, we have been in liquidity pools stacking this. I started with $800 in Kita. And since I have built up over $7,000 worth of Kita. So do the math. Just from liquidity pools and using DeFi, I've almost 10x'd my initial investment. And this thing hasn't even fully started pumping yet. Alt season hasn't hit. The mainnet for Kita hasn't even gone live yet. So again, higher risk, higher reward potential. Not saying, FOMO into this, but it might be a project you might want to look at. Where we're at in the cycle, you might be a little late to DeFi it. My personal opinion, I'm not an expert in DeFi. I've only been doing it for about 9-10 months. Tomorrow, I'm going to have Jake Call, who is the owner of Metrics Finance, and David, who used to be with Crypto Labs Research. Every Wednesday, we're actually going to be going live at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and just talking everything DeFi, from beginner stuff to advanced stuff. Those guys are much smarter than I am about DeFi. And potentially I'm going to ask them about this project and, kind of where we're at in the cycle and where they would suggest people put their liquidity in DeFi right now with, the fact that we're looking like we're about to pump. Right now, me personally, I am out of a lot of my liquidity pools. Most of my DeFi right now is in staking and lending because I want full price appreciation. I want to 10x my overall portfolio. If you're in liquidity pools, you are not getting full price appreciation. I won't get into the details of it. I have the DeFi Academy or DeFi University on our YouTube channel. Feel free to go through that. I talk about concentrated liquidity pools and full range liquidity pools, and it will explain that. So, and it's all free. We don't charge for anything here. We actually lose money doing this show. So it's, take that, as you will. But I just really love teaching people about DeFi and helping them, change their financial future. It really gets me up in the morning. I really enjoy doing it. So, all right, let's get back to this. But yes, Google ex CEO is one of the major backers on Kita. What else we got? It is a layer one. Your Mamo account has an upgrade waiting. Oh, yeah. So Mamo, let's move on to Mamo. If you hold Mamo and you are providing liquidity on the Mamo platform, make sure that you go to your account on Mamo and you will see an upgrade button. You need to make sure, like you can see it right here, Mamo. There's an upgrade button in the top right-hand corner of where you have provided your Mamo liquidity. Make sure you hit that and upgrade. If you don't, you are not going to keep earning yield. You need to hit that so that you can start earning yield again. Make sure you do that. What else we got here? Yeah, upgrade today to keep earning. All right. So, Zhao is the director of product at Constellation Network. Drew touched on this on the live just before this. Go ahead and keep dropping your questions in the chat. I will do questions at the end. I just want to burn through all this stuff real quick. So I'm going to actually show you this. I got early access to PakaSwap. So like Drew was talking about, we have been stacking Paka in our Stargazer wallet for months and months and months. They are about to go live. I'm actually working on having Dagnum on the show again. I did an interview with him before. Gonna have him on the show again, hopefully this week, if not next week. But I want to talk to him about all this and the just everything that's going on with DAG. It is a highly overlooked project. DAG itself is deeply integrated into the U.S. government. Project Iron Spider has been working with the Department of Defense for years now, and is part of their encryption. So great project. Packaswap is going to be the first DeFi, decentralized exchange, on the Constellation network. So it's going to allow us, those of us that hold DAG and other, DAG-based Constellation network-based projects, to DeFi. So super excited about this. Looks like they're going to have locks. Let's just go through it real quick. So here's the dashboard. So you have your liquidity pool rewards, that are going to be paid out in swap, your governance rewards. So, obviously you'll be able to lock swap just like you do on Aerodrome to, potentially be able to earn rewards. Let's see what else we got. Current voting period. Got a countdown clock. What else we got? Okay, there's going to be a swap. So obviously, this is why they need liquidity pools, is so that you can swap between different assets. So it looks like they got ACY, DAG, swap, and ACX currently. Again, this is early access. This isn't live yet. Let's check out what pools they got. So just like you just saw, they have ACX, ACY, DAG, and swap. So, as they add liquidity pools, liquidity pool pairs, then there'll be, different options for swapping. So let's see what else we got. And you can see there's almost no TVL on here because this is just, pre-launch. This isn't live yet. All right. So if you, end up locking your swap, this is where you would see that. Governance, current round details. So looks like we're on round 84. The round ends in 2 hours and 4 minutes. Total voting power, 1.5 billion. And yeah, same as like, Aerodrome and, those sorts of things. It looks like that, you'll be voting, allocate your votes to liquidity pools or node validators. That's new. So it looks like the node validators for Constellation Network, for DAG, it looks like you're going to be able to vote for them as well. That's new. So you'll be able to vote, and with those votes, you'll earn rewards. So kind of cool. I'll definitely be taking advantage of that because I have a very nice bag of DAG. Total supply of PACA or swap is 525 million. So total swap rewards, 499 million, total validators 8, total snapshots processed, and total swaps processed. It's super early. It should be going live here soon. I believe, yes, August 27th. Uh-oh. There we go. So August 27th, PacaSwap goes live. So we got, 15 days, 2 weeks. So in 2 weeks, PacaSwap goes live. So get your DAG tokens ready. Get ready to, those of you that have been farming Paca, make sure that you keep an eye out because you should be getting your swap token soon. Looking forward to that. All right, so let's move along. So this is Dagnum PI. If you're not following Dagnum, make sure you do. He is a huge part of the Stardust Collective, which is an organization that is a part of the Constellation Network and kind of a guiding group. So he's put out a Metagraph blockchain with its own consensus, validators, emissions, and governance. That it's the DEX isn't an app. So what he's trying to say is that PacaSwap is actually going to be its own chain. It's not a DEX that's built on a chain. It and technically it's not a chain, because it's not linear. It is a metagraph, which is like think of a spider web that goes in multiple directions. It makes it much more modular and a lot faster than a linear blockchain. So again, it's a different architecture. Again, Packaswap goes live August 27th. It's Constellation's first DEX. So, this could be the aerodrome of Constellation Network. Not to say that it's going to have the same exposure as Aerodrome. Much more bullish on Aerodrome and base projects when it comes to DeFi. All right. So that's it for that. We talked about Mamo, talked about Packaswap. Let's look at Plume. This is one of my most bullish non-base projects, and I can't go into it enough. Anybody that's been watching our channel for more than a minute, that I am super bullish on Plume. Plume Network is building out an ecosystem for DeFi and RWAs and already has massive, massive partnerships. They have a seat at the table in Washington, D.C. They're helping draft policy. They are headquartered in the Empire State Building in New York, right, in Manhattan, right in the financial area. They have over 200, 300 institutions building on them currently. They have, like BlackRock, a lot of really heavy hitters, and they are already have tokenized real world assets on chain. And if you go to rwa.xyz, you will see that RWA tokenization, TVL, has been going parabolic. And if you come down here and you look by TVL and RWA count, you can see that Plume is number 5. So Polygon has the highest RWA count. Again, we just got done talking about it. Drawing a blank. Oh, Billions. So last night we did a deep dive on Billions. That is part of Polygon. In the Polygon team, you can see that their RWA count has surpassed Ethereum. So that might be a something to look at. What they are doing is basically keeping your data private when it comes to AI and with KYC. So like whenever you're doing investing in DeFi or RWAs, it's required that they do KYC and an AML, anti-money laundering, and know your customer. So it would, that project is basically the gateway to being able to invest in these, RWAs that are being tokenized on Polygon, Ethereum, Base, Plume, all of these. So again, that was another one that Jeff, that's airdrop farming. He's the one that brought that to my attention. So, these are very early projects. Billions Network. These are very early projects. Higher risk, higher reward potential. Again, know your risk. Know your risk tolerance before you invest in these. But you can see Plume is already has a good amount of TVL. RWA holders, already a good amount of RWA holders. Stablecoin market cap, they have a stablecoin called PUSD that you can earn 15% APY on. And it's backed 1-to-1 fully with USDC. This was a genius move by Plume. Reason being is because it is backed by USDC, as long as USDC, Circle's stablecoin, is fully compliant, Plume, by default, their PUSD is fully compliant with U.S. regulators or whatever governing body. So it is a really easy lift for them to stay compliant because they, again, are backed 1-to-1 with USDC. Let's see what else we got. Also, Plume Network has USD1, which is Trump's World Liberty Fi stablecoin. That is also on Plume Network. So, take that with you as take that as you will. Just how it's aligning itself to ensure that it is part of the future financial system as decentralized finance and traditional finance start to merge. All right. Let's go back to here. Plume has 1 million followers. You can see, the likes that they have on their posts is, they have a good amount of likes. Plume validators are cooking. They visited a Korea Web3 embassy to do a deep dive on blockchain infrastructure. Korea is a tech powerhouse. South Korea is a tech powerhouse. But you can see enterprise level validators are critical for secure blockchain infrastructure. Actually, before I go too deep into this, let's look at some of the comments. I know that all of you have. Let's see if you have any questions. I need to learn DeFi. Actually, here, let's do this. Appreciate it, Ricky. All right. Rest in peace, headphone users. As the intro music nice and loud. All right. Fibonaccios, good to see you, brother. Deadwood, good to see you. DCBC, afternoon, brother. Antonio Luciano, got K-Jam in the house. Intro music really loud. Man, we're just jamming out. Can't help it, man. Yeah, Deadwood. I know that you've been holding a big old bag of ETH for a while. So congratulations, brother, on that. Antonio, I need to learn DeFi because I'm bad at selling. Yeah, no, DeFi is a great way to stack your bags for free. I call it OPM, other people's money. When you got happy feet, take profits, don't buy. Coins buy stakes. I'm looking to have enough to quit my job and go full time. It's a slow grind, not much capital to start with. We all start somewhere, Antonio. It's all about watch episode 8 in my DeFi Academy. It talks about how to build the foundation of a solid DeFi portfolio. Lending, stay. Yeah, he's a lot smarter than I am. But with lending and staking, you get full price appreciation while you earn yield. And where we're currently at in the market cycle, potentially alt season is about to kick off. And you don't want to be in liquidity pools when alts start pumping because you're not going to get full price appreciation. But with lending and staking, if markets take off, you still get full price appreciation, but you're still earning some yield. So, just my 2 cents. What else we got? $4,500 ETH. Hell yeah, brother. Let's go. Morpho's on fire. Awesome. Fucking love to see people's bags pumping. Love all the focus on base. I'm 100% invested in base plays, something I was seeing from the brother channels. Yeah, no, they've definitely been talking about Arrow, Morpho, and Moonwell for quite some time. Me specializing in DeFi, I have been going much deeper on base and base plays. KTA was one that we were calling out before anybody else. I will give credit where credit is due, though. TJ actually briefly mentioned it on months ago, and so I decided to do a deep dive episode on it, just to kind of wet people's whistle on it, and I'm glad I did. We've been stacking again. I started out with $800 and have almost $8,000 of KTA now, just from using DeFi. So I've almost 10x'd my bag of KTA simply by using DeFi. So, Mamo was another one we were super early on. Rise is one we've been talking about for weeks now, that nobody else has mentioned, and a couple of others. Arcadia Finance is one. AAA, AAA is the ticker. It is a very interesting DeFi play that I've been looking at. Actually, I'll show it to you real quick. I've actually been testing it out. So, Arcadia Finance. Come on. You can do it. Here, I'll connect my wallet. So, you can see Arcadia Finance. It's a really interesting, there's some really good APYs on here. And again, this is a super early play. So don't, go and FOMO into this. But there are some really good APYs and TVLs. So this actually leverages, some other platforms, and I'll probably do a deep dive on it. But there's some really good, it uses Aerodrome, and some other. Let's see, yeah, it uses Uniswap, Aerodrome for its liquidity pools, but it's unique because you can actually use leverage in your liquidity pools and lever up. Before you do this, make sure that you understand how leverage works. There is a risk of liquidation anytime you use leverage in trading or in DeFi. So make sure that you understand that before you start using leverage. But this is very unique how you can do these liquidity pools and use leverage. This is the AAA. I just have a little bit staked to where I can start building a bag of it. As soon as I see some juicy, AAA pools, I'll probably get into them and see if I can stack a bag of this. Right now, I just have a couple $100, but I want to see if I can turn it into a couple of grand before the alts really take off. But this is another base play. This is something that potentially, I haven't seen anything yet, but potentially could end up natively on Coinbase or on the base app. So, again, super, super early on this one. I haven't seen anyone talking about this one. So do your own research, but me personally, I'm starting to build a bag of it just because I see the potential here and I like how it's leveraging Aerodrome. If you want to get some AAA, you can actually swap for it or buy it on Aerodrome Finance. So, it's about the only place you can get it right now. So let's actually, it's not even on Coin Market Cap. I had to find it on CoinGecko. Let's see where it's sitting currently. So right now it's sitting at 2,283 by market cap. So it's at about 35 cents. Let's see. Let's go to the price. So I started buying it around 9 cents is where I got in. Um, back the end of July, and we are sitting at about 35 cents now. So let's go to the month and see what this chart looks like. And it's gotten as high. Let's actually go to the year. So it's gotten up to $1 before. So if it can reach its all-time highs again, you're looking at about a 3x from here. But right now, on the 7-day, we're pumping. On the 1 month, we are about where we were at about a month ago. I'm not a chart guy, so don't expect me to give you any deep insight on this. But that psychological level at $1, if this does pump, if this 3x's and gets above $1, then it's blue sky from there. It's in price discovery. So again, it is just an interesting play to where potentially you can lever up your aerodrome and Uniswap positions. So instead of just putting your liquidity in and earning say 100% APR, you can maybe do 3x leverage to where you could get 300% plus. But again, anytime you use leverage, there is the potential for liquidation. So make sure that you learn how this works before you do it. Cannot stress that enough. All right. So last project I want to talk about is T-Rise. So Rise, I actually got turned on to about a couple of weeks ago. So my aerodrome locks, those of you that have aerodrome locks understand that if you're manually voting, you have to find the pools that are going to pay you your weekly yield and give you the most value. So I stumbled on Rise. It was one of the pools. I voted on it and got it was at the time about $15 worth of Rise. And so before I voted on it, because I was going to get some Rise tokens, I went and did my research. And as you can see, it is a tokenization. It's like Centrifuge or like Ondo. It is a tokenization platform to digitize real world assets. So I voted on it and I got that $15 worth. That $15 worth is now worth $70. I've, of course, been buying small amounts whenever I have been taking yield from some of my liquidity pools or some of my positions and stacking more Rise. I actually, because it's been pumping, a lot of the liquidity pools with Rise are starting to see a lot of action. So I opened a position and I'm going to start seeing, if I can build, again, this is what I do is I get in early whenever these things start to pump and everyone starts FOMOing in and they want to swap for these, these assets that are pumping. That is how we make money in DeFi is people swapping. So I'm usually early. I stack small bags, a couple $100, and I'll open a liquidity pool position in these when I see the interest start to build. That is because, and the same way we did with Plume, the same we did with KTA, and some of the other early calls we did, all of them, I started with about $800 to $1,000, and I managed to build $7,000-8,000 positions from doing this. This is something that I don't see a whole lot of people teaching. And it's what I'm able to do because, again, I'm able to get in on these projects early, thanks to Jeff that is, farming some of these projects and because I focus on DeFi. I don't spread my attention across all of crypto. I don't care about gaming. I don't care about, a lot of the other narratives. I just care about DeFi and RWAs. Reason being is I see the flood, the trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars that is about to flood into these markets, into these, crypto markets, into these DeFi platforms and protocols. These RWAs. They're tokenizing stocks, bonds, treasuries, private credit, real estate. I mean, you name it. Anything that is illiquid, anything that is physical, real estate, they are going to be tokenizing it and making it liquid, making it to where you can have fractional ownership. It's the writing is on the wall. And for those of you that are paying attention, like I am, you are going to make insane amounts of money, in these projects, and specifically in base. I cannot stress enough, Plume and base is where my main focus is. And the reason being is I focus on fundamentals. Who is backing this stuff? And when it comes to base projects, in Plume, you're seeing names like BlackRock. Actually, you know what? I'm going to bring up, because I don't want you thinking I'm just fucking trying to pump my bags and hype my bags. I mean, I am invested in these heavily, but so this is the Plume portal. You see that that Plume, it uses Morpho, Rooster, Nest. If you go to Nest, this is built out on Plume Network. Plume mainnet. It's a layer 1. So if you come here, this is tokenized real world assets. This is live right now. That, I mean, you can go on here. I have. You can go on here and invest right now. Carlyle Group, huge investment firm. BlackRock. I know you've heard of BlackRock. Apollo, Centrifuge. I'm going to New York in next month to hopefully go to this this summit. Simplify, Paxos, PayPal, Hamilton Lane, UBS, Massive Bank, Goldfinch. All of them are tokenizing real world assets and offering them on Plume mainnet, on Nest. So you can earn, 10.5% on these. Blackstone is part of BlackRock. This Nest basis vault, delta neutral yield. Delta neutral, for those that don't understand what delta neutral is it's a strategy to where you mitigate the volatility. So basically, it helps you earn steadier yields. That's the most simple way I can put it. Nest Treasury Vault, institutional grade yield from U.S. Treasuries. Yeah, it's only 4.2%, but, and I won't get into it right now, but I'm going to be teaching looping. So something that I have been doing is you can invest in these. You can take like the in alpha. You can go over to places like Mystic Finance that's also on Plume. You can lend out. So basically, I can have this earn 10.5%. I can go over to Mystic. I can lend it out to earn like another 5%. So now I'm earning 15%. I can then borrow against it for like 1% or less. So I'm basically getting paid to borrow money. And what I'm borrowing is stable coins that I can then take and put into liquidity pools or other DeFi plays to earn, 30, 40, 50% or more. So these are the strategies that we're going to be teaching. Oh, shit. These are the strategies that we're going to be teaching moving forward, especially with my guests David and Jake on Wednesdays. We're going to start teaching advanced strategies like looping. So make sure that you're following us on YouTube and on X so that you are able to take advantage of the immense amount of alpha and the immense amount of knowledge that we're going to be sharing. Everything from airdrops to DeFi, and not just from us, but from people that are much more knowledgeable and offer a wealth of experience. David, if you haven't seen him, he used to be with Crypto Labs Research. He's since branched off on his own. He's building an amazing DeFi academy or university to where he's going to teach advanced strategies and other just advanced strategies to where you're going to be able to lever up your earning. And he's super knowledgeable on Pendle. I've been wanting to do a deep dive on Pendle. I think I'm going to wait and just do it with him. He comes from a TradFi background, but has gone heavy into DeFi because he sees what's coming. So again, make sure that you tune in with us tomorrow, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, so 5 p.m. Eastern. Let's see. What else do I got for you? So ambient, I have a position. My plume is on ambient right now, and I am currently earning. Actually, let's check on it real quick. I'll show you my position. So I'm earning 183% APR right now on my plume position. So you can see I have almost I have more plume, but this is what I have in here. I have almost $7,000 worth of plume. I've built that from $800. But I'm earning 183% on my plume. And those of you that are watching, plume isn't moving. Plume, it's been trending sideways forever. In DeFi, that is awesome. It allows you to have a tighter range. You can see that my range is from 7.5 cents to 12.3 cents. It's been ranging in this range for quite some time. So I have just been stacking like daily. I'm earning about $50 worth of plume a day. And so I've just been sitting back and just compounding this back in because when plume does run, as soon as it goes out of range, I'm pulling this liquidity for full price appreciation because plume is going to go insane when it starts to move. This is one of my highest conviction plays. So you can see, these are all different projects. D-Bridge is, on Plume mainnet, Elixir, Dinero, Isle Finance is Zumi, Kasu Finance, Layer Bank, Merkle, Morpho, Base, Morpho is, on Base. So there's actually I did a deep dive on this the other day where I detailed the connection potentially between Base and Plume, through Morpho. So those that don't know, Morpho is a base play that is currently facilitating Bitcoin loans on Coinbase, directly on Coinbase. So through Morpho, there is a bridge basically to where liquidity can flow between Plume and Base. If you're not paying attention to these partnerships and these relationships between these major players, these different chains like Chainlink, the interoperability play, and how they're being integrated into a lot of these chains, the interoperability between things like Plume and Base and other chains is going to be paramount and is going to give you a very good, not a guarantee, but an indication of who is going to last? Because I guarantee you that 90 to 95%, and a lot of them are probably projects that I own as well, but 90 to 95% of crypto projects are not going to stand the test of time. And if you are not paying attention to how the ecosystem, the crypto ecosystem and DeFi and RWA ecosystem is evolving, you are going to miss out because you are going to stay in projects too long and not lift and shift your fire. You need to make sure that you're diversifying as they gain traction. You need to ensure that you are DCAing out as the market pumps, that you are DCAing out into stable coins. I cannot stress that enough. Not financial advice. This is what I'm doing because I want to lock in that value that I am getting as the markets pump. I will be DCAing out. In fact, I will show you. We offer this for free in our Discord, both the Discover Investment Group and the DCA Discord. So this is an Excel spreadsheet. I'll be updating this and posting it on the Discords. But you can see, you have a dashboard. You have your bull run portfolio tracker. These blue shaded areas auto update based off the manual inputs. You can track your liquidity pools, but most importantly, your ladder out strategy. So you can manually input what your holdings are, put what percentage of your bag you want to sell and at what price, and it will automatically compute how many tokens you need to sell and the value, what the value will be at that point. It will auto compute your total. If you hit, like if I hit all my take profit points on my on all my holdings, I will end up with almost $540,000 with the way that I have it set up right now. And that's of course not counting my HODL lock, my arrow locks that I have that are locked for 4 years. And I need to update this, but that's my goal. Once I hit $500,000, I am pulling, other than my 10% moon bags, I am pulling I am selling everything. It is important that you understand your financial goals. Do not let emotion get the best of you and make you round trip your bags trying to make just a little bit more. Make sure you are taking profits on the way up. None of us are going to be able to time the top exactly. Make sure that you are not my exit liquidity. I want you to make money. I'm going to take my profits. And to be honest, the way investing works, those of us that take profits and that make money during this bull run, somebody else is our exit liquidity. People that weren't here for the past 4 or 5 years, putting in the time and putting the money in the markets. The ones that see it on social media and start FOMOing in, here at the end, they are the exit liquidity for those of us that have put in the work. Don't be the exit liquidity. Be the one that's making profits. So with that, let's go through the chat real quick. And before I go, yes, Kyle Watts, absolutely. Freaking base plays are gonna kill it. Barf DOD, welcome. New name. Appreciate you, brother. Earning, oh, nice. Kyle Watts, you're earning DAG with your staked position. Yeah, on a node, I'm guessing. Joseph, any updates on the Constellation airdrop? I have not seen anything. It should be soon, however, because Packaswap is going live on the 27th. My guess would be sometime between now and then. Simply because it just makes sense, for them to drop the swap token, um, before the DEX goes live, so that you can lock your swap if you want to earn. Like I said, I went through the platform, so you can see here, you can connect your wallet and you can lock your swap. So it wouldn't make any sense to go live unless the swap token was live as well. So that would be my guess, Joseph. Doo-ba-doo. Raw dogging an hour of shilling. Yeah, if you want to call talking about good projects shilling, I'm a shilling, brother. I'm a shilling. You want me to talk about shit projects, or projects that I'm not invested in? It's full disclosure. I tell you, these are the ones I'm investing in and why. It's like I'm not getting paid. Now, I didn't get any free tokens to talk about these projects. I didn't get paid cash to talk about any of these projects. We don't get paid for anything on this channel. We don't have advertisers. We don't have shit. So raw dogging, you might want to learn a little bit about the channel before you start trolling. But I appreciate you being here. Not sure what you're talking about. No one uses that shit. Feel free, if you're still here, to let me know what you're talking about. Mountain Magnets, what up, brother? Appreciate you. Can't wait to see what Plume does and price appreciation. Absolutely, Jay. I'm like I said, price hasn't moved a whole lot. It has not affected. I invest off fundamentals. If you want to invest off price, it might work out for you, but you might get wrecked as well. Because if you invest off price, then if something dips, you're going to sell, and when it pumps, you're going to try to buy back in. You're going to end up getting wrecked. So yeah. Yeah, Michael Lind, I am not really into gaming. I think it's going to be a huge use case. I think crypto in gaming is, definitely, and tokenization, is going to be a huge part of that. Being able to tokenize, or create NFTs out of things that you find in games or that you buy in games, to where only there's a lot there. I just can't focus on that. Yeah, I can't focus on everything. So I focus on DeFi and RWAs. I have Jeff that focuses on airdrops, and we both kind of talk basic crypto, and then that's why we have our brother channels. Discover Crypto. They're very news based, and very crypto based. Damn, damn. All right. Sorry, I'm on Starlink, so yeah, it's I lose connection sometimes. What else we got here? There we go. Appreciate it, Michael. Yeah, please hit the like button. Make sure you're following us. Like I said, we're not monetized in any way. We don't ask for super chats. We don't, ask for any money from anybody for anything. So anything that you guys can do to help us grow, we're just trying to give good alpha on crypto projects, DeFi, airdrops, all of it. Mammo Moon Math, Teddy. It's something I don't do. I don't like to, tell people, I'm not a chart guy. Drew is really good at that. Kelly's really good at that. Discover Crypto's good at that. I'm not a moon math guy. I just look at fundamentals, And if I like what I see, I invest. And but that being said, Mamo has a very small market cap, and with its integration into Coinbase and the base app, I see a lot of potential for it, especially for people new to crypto and DeFi, simply because they can deposit their liquidity and Mamo, the AI, does all the work for them. Invests it on Moonwell into different liquidity pools, moves it around, makes sure that they earn maximum yield. I see that as being very, very appealing to people that are new to crypto and new to DeFi. Matthew King, appreciate you, brother. Yeah, no, I mean, freaking, I hope that what you see here brings value, and by all means, check out some of our other episodes, where we do deep dives on projects. Yeah, no, leveraged liquidity, I think it's a very unique aspect. It's kind of something that Pendle does as well, where they have YT and PT, the yield token and principal token, where you can earn off of your asset, but you can also earn off of the potential yield that you could earn. A lot of really cool DeFi opportunities out there right now, and I'm sure more to come. Yes, Fibonaccios. If you're talking about AAA and pretty much any other base project, you should be able to swap for it on the Coinbase wallet. Um, Check and make sure. A lot of times it's cheaper to swap for it on Aerodrome. Sometimes the fees for swapping on the uh, the fees for swapping on the Coinbase wallet can be a little steep. So again, check on Aerodrome Finance. Mooks, it's recorded. Standard Time. I'm going live today just because I had a lot to talk about, a lot going on in the market. Wednesday, tomorrow, every Wednesday, I'm going to be going live with David, again, formerly of Crypto Labs Research, and Jake Call. He's the one that owns Metrics Finance and has his own YouTube channel. Both crazy smart when it comes to DeFi. So that will be an every Wednesday show. Thursdays, I go live with my brother Taylor, who is an estate lawyer, so knows how to protect wealth, owns a title company, very knowledgeable about real estate, both commercial and residential, and another Jeff, his business partner, that is a traditional finance guy. So stocks, bonds, all that kind of stuff, and we talk, just markets in general, and basically ways to generate wealth, both traditionally and in DeFi, and also how to protect your wealth, as far as tax shelters, things like that, using LLCs, trusts, things of that nature. That's on Thursdays. Um, Fridays, sometimes I go live, and then Saturdays at 5 p.m. Again with Jeff, airdrop Jeff. We go live. So not every day, but most days. Let's see. Dagnum's due diligence. What up, Dagnum? What's up, brother? Hey, we need to. I covered PackaSwap, as you can see, but I really want to bring you on to talk about the nodes and how they're going to play into um, the. Where is that? Where was that at? Yeah, right here, where it talks about the node validators, to where you'll be able to vote for the node validators. That is very unique. And I definitely want to have you on and go through all of this and everything that's going on with get an update on Constellation Network and DAG. So yeah, definitely get with me, brother. I want to definitely have you on. Ricky Romero, are we still early if we DCA into Plume today? Looks promising. Um, again, I'm bullish on it. I'm obviously invested in it. Do your own research. But me personally, yes, the price has not pumped yet. It is still, at in that range that it's been at for a very long time. So a lot of upside still potentially left in Plume with the amount of institutions that are building on it. KJAM, I need to form an LLC to put my house into. Yeah, it's a smart thing to do, and if you layer it with a trust and and some other vehicles, it works really well to also mitigate your tax burdens on your crypto as you take profits, and it gives you a lot of options to take profits and mitigate capital gains tax and other taxes like that. So I'm not an expert. Definitely talk to a tax professional, or if you want to tune in on Thursdays, Taylor, again, my brother, he specializes in all that and can potentially give some advice on that. All right. So looks like that's it. Uh, Again, make sure you do your own research. This is just my findings and kind of what I see going on in the markets right now. Let's take a quick look and see what is, if the markets are still pumping or if they're pulling back. Oh, they pulled back a little bit. That's all right. That's all right. In DeFi, we don't care what the prices do. When you're in DeFi, it doesn't, if you're doing it right, pullbacks, we make money. Ranging sideways, we make money. When the markets are pumping, we definitely make money because our bags that we've been, had the discipline to stack when everyone else was panicking, when we had pullbacks, when everyone else was complaining that the markets were dull because everything was ranging sideways and there was no volatility, we were stacking. And when the markets do eventually pump, those of us that stayed disciplined, those of us that stayed focused, and that stacked our bags for free. Again, I haven't used any of my own fiat to put into crypto for the past 8-9 months. My bags have 100% been stacked using DeFi. And those of you that have been watching, and those of you that have gone through the DeFi Academy and built out a good, solid foundation in your portfolio and use the yield from your staking, lending, and full range pools, because the yield is other people's money. It's the fees that people are paying you to use your liquidity. Those of us that have been using that and then, using the other people's money to start higher risk positions, ranged positions, in some of these new projects that we want to build bags of, we're the ones that are going to reap the rewards. So, with that, I appreciate you all. There's a bunch of people in here, so sorry, I'm not going to go through and name everybody, but oh shit, Jim, you got here late, man. I promise I'll do AOX next stream. But I got to go, man. I got some stuff I got to do. But KJam, Jim, Dagnum, Ricky Romero, Mooks, not uh, if you want to go to our YouTube channel, go to the DeFi Academy. It will start with episode 1, and it will explain what DeFi is and get you started in DeFi. It will teach you everything that you need to know. If you have any questions, make sure you join our Discord. We have a whole community in there. Everyone is great about helping new people out. Just make sure that if anybody, tries to get you to, send them money or, ask for your wallet or anything like that, don't do it. Nobody legit in there will do that. but we're more than happy to answer questions for you as you're learning and getting into DeFi. Was it? Yeah, Levi Walker, everyone that showed up, really appreciate all the support that you guys do. Please like and share the stream, on YouTube. And till next time, Veteran Crypto out.